Do you want to be average? Do you want to be above average? Do you want to stand out? I mean, are you in this game just to have a fight, or are you in this game to become the champion? It's time.
Gentlemen, welcome back to the Men's Collective podcast, the place where it all happens, the real men, the real talk, none of the BS. Wayne Taylor here, and I'm joined by a bunch of my good mates, the Average Joes. Fellas, welcome once again. Jamie, Steve-O, Mikey.
Morning, boys. Lads, we're back. What's going on?
It's good, Doug. Nearly weren't back, were we? Let's be honest. I nearly pulled I did pull a...
Yeah,
what do we
almost
call
pulled a
this one?
sickie,
Yeah.
and then
You did. We held him accountable.
We held you accountable. How
True.
Hey, do you want to talk about how we held you accountable?
No, we probably shouldn't. We probably get in trouble for that. Bit of hate speech involved. It's good. Actually, you could get locked up if we actually,
Yeah, look,
You want to bring it up?
If you just took
You
that,
just show
if
people?
you took that,
Mate, we never show the group chat.
yeah. If we took the group chat to the police station, 3 of us would be locked up.
Well, you did hold me accountable. Yeah, I did try to pull a sick this morning. I had a rough
There'd be only
night.
3 of us, so Wayne wouldn't rock up because he has a headache.
No, I had a very rough. It's for those that don't know, we're recording early Saturday morning this week, and yes, I had a very, very terrible sleep last night and tried to pull a sickie this morning because I was just wrecked. But I've just proved a point that no, I've pushed through. You guys, I'm here.
Let's go.
Let's lead them from the front. Anyway.
Now we've got an excuse for the content. We can carry on.
This will make a great reel. Well, welcome back, lads. I'm glad you've didn't pull a sickie on me and you rocked up. Thanks. But right, let's get into a few announcements. Last week's podcast going really good. I had someone write in about goal setting and the just about the clarity about goals, which is great. We're glad you guys are getting a lot out of the podcast. It's always great to hear your stories, testimonies on some stuff. Especially just around this one last week about setting goals, because we had a big year, you as well as us, big year 2026, making this your best year yet. There's a lot that goes into it, and I told you guys about some of the goals that I was setting. I actually had my diary arrive this week, so I was actually going to bring it on this week, but it's in my garage. But no, really,
Haven't used it yet, no?
But no, actually was going to, because it only came yesterday. It was at 2:00. Some bloke from wherever he was dropped it off my front door.
Is that why you had a rough sleep? You were just like, crap, I've got to actually start doing this.
Just full of
Pressure of
goals.
accountability.
I haven't slept since it's arrived.
But no, I'll say this one thing, because Jamie and I were having a chat this week, because Steve-O sent me a whole bunch of goals straight off the bat. Mike, you've sent me nothing because obviously you've got nothing, you're going nowhere. Thanks for that, mate. But but Jamie sent me some goals this week as well, and just going through about how, giving a bit more clarity on it. So it's good. It's really, really good. I hope you guys that are listening and watching getting a lot out of it too. And like we did say, feel free to send us in some of your goals. And at the end of the year, we're going to be pulling out ours back to the surface here, going through them and seeing where we actually ended up, and we have no problem holding you guys accountable too. So send your goals in, and we might even give you a bit of a shout out next end of the year when we go through it and see where we're all at. So really, really good. Looks like we picked up a new sponsor this week, and I'll talk more about that next week, but that's fantastic. Also, just put it there for you guys, if you are a local business, a local company, or an individual that does want to put your name behind what we do and put your brand alongside ours here at Average Joe's. We're not just open to taking on money partners and things, because what we've built here, we value, and we believe that businesses and people need to align with, want to align with what we're about, but we need to also see through and make sure that we're connecting with the right kind of people too. So if you are interested, very, very wanting to hear from you, and get you on board. Australia Day, fantastic. We'll talk a bit more about that in the week that was. One of the good things, fellas, I spoke at the men's shed this week. I don't know if you guys have ever been to any of the men's sheds around.
Mate, I haven't yet. I'd be keen to, though.
Mate, I'll tell
us
you
more.
this.
In Sydney, I've been to a few, but
I in my head, when I hear men's shed, I think old blokes working with wood, like similar to like an old style, like Santa Claus and elf kind of garage setup. You got these old men just like chipping away and making
toys.
wooden toys, right?
Yeah.
I went along and I was actually talking to the bloke there, did a bit of research on how the men's shed was founded, but it was never founded to aim for older men. It was founded to just aim at men right across the board. It's just that the timings of their meetups seemed to slot more into the daytime, which then was appealing to the older guys, which stuck around.
And
But
generally retired
That's
men
right,
who
yeah.
still want community.
that's right, yeah. But I was actually genuinely, and I say this hand on heart, honest to God, this is the truth, thoroughly, genuinely loved it. They not only just like a bunch of larrikin blokes, like just good. I think there was 65 men there, laughing, having a great time. They were structured. it was done so well. I just want to give a big shout out to the guys that mentioned. You guys are doing a great job. I went to the one at Richard. Fantastic, really, really good. And it was great to speak there, shared about what we do here at Average Joe's, and looking like there could be a bit of a partnership with us and them in the future, but we don't want to say too much. Had a bit of a funny story, which I did tell you guys about this week, but just in regards to testimonies that we hear. But one of my daughter's friends has been seeing somebody in Brisbane, a psychologist or therapist of some sort, whatever, and the therapist or whoever she was actually watches the show and made some great comments about some of the stuff we put out, which I think is fantastic because, we try our hardest to put out good content that's grounded and solid. And when you see people in positions like that, listen and say, hey, good. Love hearing that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
really,
that's
good.
awesome.
It's awesome. So one of the things, last part of the announcements, I want to start introducing a new segment in what we do on the podcast called, we haven't given it a name yet, but I want to make it a bit like a champion-style shout-out. I want to take one of the segments and give you blokes out there that have seen an accomplishment, seen a breakthrough, had something good happen. We want to give you a shout out. So send in a story, send in something that's happened. It could be a mate of yours that you heard about that's, just gone through chemo and come out on the other side. Fantastic. We want to hear stories like that. And we want to give you guys a shout out by name, just to give you that bit of encouragement to say, hey, fellas, we're thinking of you. Well done. It might be a job promotion, might be you've been reunited with a lost child or something, whatever it is. We want to hear it and give you guys a shout out. So feel free to send that in to us. Just email it or through whatever it is. But okay, guys, over to Jamie for Ask Us Anything.
All right, thanks, Fine. Awesome. So this week's question, it goes, hey, Joes, I don't even know how to get this out right. Joes?
How good's that? Hey, Joes.
But I feel like I'm constantly telling myself I'm not doing all the right things. I work hard, gym lover, sick family, like a good family, sick family.
I think that's what it means. I've got a sick family, bro.
Yeah. Strict routine. But there's this constant feeling that I'm running away from something deeper and I can't put my finger on it. It's like every time I get quiet or alone, I have time to think. I feel empty and I don't even know what I'm supposed to feel. Not sure how you answer this one, but yeah, let me know.
Deep.
Pastor Wayne.
You're kicking over to me first, are we? You don't want to start this one, Jamie?
Nope.
This is okay. I want to just go through it real quickly again. What do you say? He's constantly telling himself he's doing all the right things. He's working hard, going to the gym. He's got a sick family apparently. Strict routine, but there's constant feeling that I'm running away from something deeper. I can't put my finger on it. It's like every time I get quiet or alone, I have time to think. I feel empty. I don't even know what I'm supposed to feel. I'm not sure. Okay, mate. Funny this question kind of came in because this week's topic was going to be another topic that I've already written out, which we'll do next week, which I've labelled "Is This It?" Because I've been there. I don't know how old you are, Trent. You didn't mention your age, but what are we? We're all early to mid 40s now, yeah. What
Early.
early? Okay, well I'm 46 now.
Come on.
But I've been there.
We'll just say middle-aged.
I have this little fire pit at the backyard, and on a Sunday morning I'll have a coffee and I'll sit there by myself, and I normally put a bit of music on, just some slow, just chill out music, right? And I look into the trees, have my coffee, and that's my time where I do zone out and I think of nothing, and I'm in that place. And I've had that question come through, and we'll talk about it in next week's one about is this it? But when it comes to feeling like you've ticked all the boxes, which you're saying you have, what do you say? You're a hard worker, you love going to the gym, you've got family's in order, you're sticking to a routine, but you're feeling that you're running away from something deeper and you can't put your finger on it. Man, I'm not going to turn this podcast into anything preachy, but I will say this because it's hand on heart truth, a testimony to myself. I've been there, and what I found personally to be the answer is that there is a spiritual side to how this world works. And I'm not encouraging you to go on a journey and try certain things. For me, look, straight out, like I said, this is not a preachy podcast, but for me, man, I found it in Jesus. It's just the truth. I searched and I found it. It wasn't in church, it wasn't in religion, It was in having that relationship with Jesus, and it did not that it was a box to tick or a hole to fill or anything like that. But what I will say is I don't feel like I am. Where you said you're running away from something, I don't feel like I'm running away from anything in my life. There's challenges, there's things, but when I am alone and I'm sitting there, I'm going, am I content? Am I full? Am I happy? I'm happy because my foundation is already been set, and my foundation is that. From that point, having my let's just put it under one word as faith, having my faith set, having my faith right, everything else I've built from that, my family, my business, whatever. And I think we spoke about this a while ago. I think when Greg was still around, we talked about actually it might have just been a topic in one of the AJ's meetups about when it's all said and done. We talk about having a bag, right? Like, what's left in your bag. When it's all said and done, you look in your bag, what's left? For me, everything can be stripped away. And what's left will always be my faith. Without a doubt, it's the foundation of where everything's. You can knock a house down and rebuild. If you keep your foundations there, you can keep going, 100%. So yeah, like I said, try to turn that preachy, lads. But I'm just being honest. We told you this is a podcast without any BS, so I kept the BS away.
There you go.
Thoughts?
I think you're right, mate. I don't think there's much more to say than that, really.
Well, I'll add an extra perspective as well. I just can't get the image of you in your silk pajamas with some soft jazz playing on a Sunday morning around the fire pit. That's just, it's burned into my
Okay. Did you say you were looking at the bushes or you were in the bushes?
No, but I think for Trent, you've found yourself in a place where a lot of people do. These questions are big questions, right? And what people tend to do is, you said it there, like when I get quiet time or alone time, I tend to feel empty. So what we tend to do is either avoid that time or we fill it with something because we don't want to be in that place. We don't want to feel empty. We don't want to feel all these things that Trent's feeling. So we get busier thinking that it'll go away. The reality is eventually you have to lean into that space rather than lean out.
Yeah.
And as why you'll avoid it, you'll never really address those things. And the hardest thing is actually just sitting with purpose in that space because we don't like it. It's uncomfortable. So we get busy. And I know you've got a routine as doing all the right things. But obviously those right things aren't fulfilling the need that's really there. And until you can sit with it, you're not going to find that need. And it doesn't matter what you fill it with. Some people fill it with great stuff. Other people go down substance abuse paths, all that sort of stuff. Adrenaline junkies. It doesn't matter what it is. If it doesn't meet the need that's there underneath, nothing can fill that purpose. And you'll always have this void. And I think it has to be something that you got to sit with for a little bit, get uncomfortable and address it. And so even men of faith can have this as well. So we just get busy instead of being uncomfortable enough to sit with it or have someone to walk that journey with you. So my advice to you, Trent, is don't avoid it. Don't try and fill it. Find some space to sit with it with a good mate and actually work out why is it that you feel that void. And until he does that, you can fill it with every positive thing in the book and you won't avoid that.
That's a good thought, mate. That's really good. John, you want to add anything, bud?
I think sometimes when people feel like this, it's a symptom of people that have been given for so long and they just give, that they don't know, they don't actually know who they are, and this is where a lot of people go on that journey with, whether it be like inner child work or, mindset work or coaching and all that sort of stuff, because they've come to this stage where they're like, man, I'm living my life, but I don't actually know who I am. So, and this is where, you do have to find out who you actually are. And this is why identity work is so important. And do you know what? If you don't know, or you're like, I don't know what I like, what I don't like, just choose the person who you want to actually be and try to become that. And then eventually you'll actually learn that, oh no, that wasn't really me, but, but I'm more like this sort of person. And it is just a progress that you just keep working on yourself. And then eventually you'll find out what fills your cup and you won't feel so empty over a period of time. So, you've got to spend that time with yourself and working out who you actually are, because, in the end, that's the person that you're left with. And, there's so many sayings out there that, you can't love others until you love yourself, and truly. And, having actually expectations on other people is the things that hurt us most, you know? So, yeah, what my advice is actually sit with yourself and work out who you want to be. You know, go through your beliefs, go through, you know, your goals, go through the what kind of father, husband, friend you want to be, and then work towards that. You know, perfection doesn't exist, but progress does. And it's an amazing thing when you're taking action towards becoming a better person, instantly you start to feel better about yourself and less empty.
Good thought, mate.
Cool.
Well, Trent, have you got a lot of that, buddy? I think stick around for next week, bud, because I think you're going to get a lot out of next week's episode, which I said I've already written, which is going to be called "Is This It?" So hopefully get some of you answers out of that.
Just for Trent to feel he's not alone.
100%.
It's so normal, bro.
Oh, we all go there,
and we all will be there again. You know,
Yeah.
like we'll all go through. It's not a once off and we fix it.
Yep.
These are things that constantly come up. So Trent, you're normal, bro.
Yep, got a sick family too, Trent.
Yeah,
Apparently.
They're sick, bro.
Yeah, fully sick, mate. Oh, don't be offended, mate. I'm not offended by that. We love you, Trent. Don't know who you are, but we love you.
Mate, that's how I used to say, like, I had such a sick weekend. I had like heaps of people
I
say
did say
that.
that word. I'm thinking he's got a sick family, poor bugger. Oh no, sick family, right? And he actually might have a sick family. Who knows? Anyway, moving right along.
Either way, we offended him. So sorry, Trent.
Yeah, sorry, Trent. I
All
feel
that good work has
feel like
now.
I've got to apologise.
Enjoy the next podcast you find. I hope it helps you.
Enjoy your last one with us. Oh, sorry, Trent.
We'll recommend a few for you.
All right, fellas, over to Out and About.
Guys, it was a wild week.
Wild week, wasn't
Always
it?
is.
Yeah, it really is, hey. So
We've always got a story.
there is always a story. So last week it was sausages. This week, it was just weird, right? The weather's been pretty crazy on the coast. We rock up to the square and it's raining on and off. There's people around, and there's people are aggro.
Could have
just
sworn it was a full moon or something.
Something was going on, man.
was
But
weird.
there was just a lot of aggro going on. And
Namor Zoo came out.
It was. There was something in the air. But you know, it's why we're there, right? You go to these things, and when you get people that are like that, you kind of you start to sum up, why am I doing this? What's going on? And what I love about it is we always end up coming back to, but you know what? They still need help. We're going to see the same people that were aggro this week. They're going to rock up next week with a big smile on their face. And it was just a bad day. And everyone has bad days.
Yeah.
But one of the things I really like was, you talk about the sum of someone being who they hang around with and who they're associated with. And amidst everything that was going on Thursday night, who was rocking up? We had Chris from Bamboo Projects.
Legend of a bloke.
Absolute legend.
Talk an
supporter
arm,
of what we
talk a
do.
leg off a chair, they say. But
Yep, he really can.
Oh,
So
yeah.
I missed a lot of what was going on because I was having a good chat. But what a dude. Like,
great guy. I love Chris.
And we should probably put a link to Bamboo Projects
Good idea.
on the potty and just see what's going on. But those guys are legends. And just having someone like that that's willing to come out and get amongst what we're doing, because he's such a supporter of community and bettering the coast. And then we rock up and IFYS rocking up and, oh, hey guys, we've organised to meet these people here. If they come and seen you yet, we've got IFYS, not by anything that we've done. We haven't set a relationship, but these guys are now booking when someone phones up for help. They go, yeah, meet us at the barbecue. So we're now helping facilitate
yeah.
That's really cool.
a bigger, like, it's pretty cool, man.
It is cool. It is.
Like-
You're exactly right, mate.
What a week. So yeah, it was good. Like, it was good fun. I was glad to go home at the end of that one. But pumped for next week, because all those people that were angry are going to be like, hey, how you doing?
What I will say about the barbecue is, in case someone doesn't know how it actually started, when Mike and I had that coffee that one day and we were talking about, interest rates going up, inflation going up, people are doing it tough. And we said, let's just go, what will it cost to buy a barbie and start cooking some snags every week? Now, we didn't get permission, and I'm not saying this is what you do, but we didn't get permission off any councils. We didn't reach out to the police. We didn't reach out to anyone to make sure that every box was ticked, that we're doing this right. We just bought a barbie, set it up in the town square and started cooking. And that was 3.5 years ago now. And we worked it out. We went to awards night in November.
Yep.
That it's roughly about 18,000 meals that we've done in the 3.5 years. If you work out 100 to 120 a night over the 3.5 years, about 18,000, right? Now, who is it? IFYS, what are they called? Yep. Council members come, police come past if they're not there every week, they're every second week. They'll drive past, slow down, stick their head in and keep going.
The 1 week you want them there, right?
The 1 week indeed. But what I'm trying to say is that I believe this is what true leadership is. Yes, I'm not saying go outside of the law, but what I'm saying is that imagine what you can do and you can accomplish if you just go and do it. Because we've had so many people say to us, how did you get permission? We still haven't. Been 3.5 years. Oh, but who did you ask? We haven't asked anybody. So why do you get away with it? We're just doing it.
Yeah.
Well,
just so true.
But what's interesting, because when we did start, about probably a month in to the start, we did have, we had the local council member phoned us up and was like, hey, what are you guys doing? And he phoned me, and I don't take that well to being told what to do. So this guy's like, hey, I want you to tell me what you're doing. I'm like, I'm not telling you nothing, mate. You come down and look for yourself. We're here. Like, get off your bum. And he did. And he's like, man, I love what you're doing. Can I get involved?
Is this David?
David, yeah.
And he's a legend of a bloke.
Absolute legend.
He's a really good fella.
Yeah, really good guy. And then 2 weeks later, council compliance. We pull up with the barbecue in the old trailer, and he's like, what are you guys doing? I'm like, this is what we're doing. Oh, awesome. Let me know if you need a hand.
So good.
Like, it's just...
Yeah.
Yeah, if you're doing the right thing for the right reasons,
just do it.
Yeah, like I work with in Moreton Bay area with some disengaged youth, all the kids you see on the news.
All of Moreton Bay.
Lovely, yeah.
They're all Steve's.
Huh?
Did you just say they're mine?
They're all my kids.
They're all
yeah.
yours, mate.
That's why we moved up. I found out.
that's why I went to Morton.
You get letters, Dad.
Yeah, right. Stop spamming me. But I'm working with one of the schools, and they approached me and said, "Hey, like, can you help with a uniform? We got a kid who needs a uniform, and there's we can't get budget through the school. We're trying to get this approved at regional level. Our department won't, adjust for budgeting. We can't do this. All this red tape." And I said, "How much is it?" And she said, "Oh, it's $140 for the uniform." But we can't do it because there's no budget. So I've applied for all these things and everyone keeps saying no. And I said, I'll just pay for that. She goes, "Oh, no, you can't do it. Like, can it go through your business? I'll just pay for it. Does a kid need a uniform to be at school?" Like, yeah, she lives in a car with her mum and blah, blah. I said, I'll just pay for it. Like, if a kid needs something. And it got shut down. Like, no, you can't do that. We don't want you to do that. And I'm like, what's the point? Like, we're here. We have the resources. We have capacity. If the kid needs a uniform, I'll just go out now and buy a uniform. And they were shocked because I didn't get approval, I didn't get budget. And they were like, "Oh, no, we wouldn't want to ask you to do that." And I said, "But that's the whole point of what we're doing here.
Just do."
So you're happy to have a kid sitting in a car, not rock up at school because the school wouldn't approve the budget for $140. And we're talking like, the school budgets are huge, right? Yeah. And I went, when was the last executive lunch they had? That would have cost $300 to provide morning tea for the exec lunch for the school, but you can't do 100. I said, I'll just pay for it. And miraculously, they approved a budget because they didn't want me to pay for it personally. But it's interesting, hey, like how much red tape just stops good things. You get,
absolutely,
just do it. Like, why are we still having meetings about doing it?
Yep.
Just do it.
Going beyond red tape, like, that's just such a symptom of we now rely on the government for everything.
Yeah.
I need permission to do anything. I can spend 140 how I want to spend 140 of my own money. Yeah. A kid in his uniform will get it. No, we can't do that. It's got to get approved by 17 people up the chain.
The government don't care because they've had 30% of it before I got it. They're going to take another 25% of it when I spend it. It's ridiculous.
Because we've had this conversation, like if push come to shove and we did get a lot of pushback about what we do with the barbecue, I've had this thought go through my head where you go, at the end of the day, who can stop you and I having our dinner at the square? No one can. We're allowed to take our dinner down at the square, right?
You've just overestimated how much you can
Exactly that. So can I bring 5 hot dogs? Well, of course you can. Okay, can I bring 100? Like, where's the limit? So if I bring 100 hot dogs with me to eat dinner in the square and I just happen to have enough that I can't fit it all in, I want to share it with a few friends, Is that allowed? Good. Well, that's all we're doing it.
Yeah.
That's what we do.
It's
Anyway,
true. How long until the government decides there's a limit on how much food you're allowed to carry?
they better not beat.
You might offend someone. You might offend a vegan. You're not allowed meat on the square. Yeah.
I get offended every time I look at what I eat. Righto, moving right along. The meetups this week been really good. We're back in full swing now. The topics are going to go. The topics are underway. Check up on the website or check out on Facebook and Instagram all of the locations for the meetups. They're going really, really good. Fellas are going great. If you do want to start one of our Average Joe's meetups, they only go for an hour a week. We discuss the topic that we have on the podcast here, but it's also camaraderie, it's mateship, it's accountability, it's all the stuff that, like I said to the men's shed this week, having blokes meet for an hour a week at a pub, that's not a new thing. What is new though, what's different, what is our point of difference is that we're there on a purpose to walk out better men, to be challenged to be better. So we didn't create meeting at a cafe, we didn't create meeting at a pub. That's not new, but we go there with this purpose, with an agenda for this very thing. So hit up the website. If you want to start one of these, reach out to us. We've got a bit of a process to go through to align with what we do, but hit us up. Really, really good. Righto. Mikey, back to you, buddy, for the week that was.
Guys, I want to start off by talking about reconciliation. So for reconciliations, you need two parties to actually come together and both work at it together. Mm-hmm. Okay, right. So, Australia Day, we have Aboriginal leaders burning flags, burning our nation's flag. Now, we spend all year talking about reconciliation, and then we have guys burning our nation's flag. Okay, now that's right off the back of, over the last few weeks in Parliament, we've had basically voted down the bill to make burning our nation's flag illegal, right? And then straight away we've got these guys burning our flag. What do you think? Should it be banned?
It's not even a question that should. Why is it still up? It's actually no, it's not even up. You're saying that the Labor Party voted down against making it illegal.
I believe it was Labor, Greens, and even some of the LNP.
It makes no sense to me as to why it doesn't even exist already. You're in our country. Yeah, it doesn't matter what country you're in. You don't, especially on the day of celebration, burn the national flag, mate. Why is it not even illegal yet? Is staggering to me. It makes no sense. I remember we were saying before the podcast about you touching the ground with the national flag, Steve.
2019, first time in America, speaking at a youth camp in California, and we had we're having dress-up days, and one of them was Dress American, and so I had a flag. They put a flag on my shoulders, and we went to do something, and I went to put it down, and the guys close were like, "Don't let it touch the ground," and I thought they were joking, and I realised very quickly it's a real thing, right? And I love patriotism, and that's one something I fell in love with America is how much they love their country and will stand up for it. And I was like, oh, it's just checking, is that legit? And they're like, yeah, like, trust me, bro, if you want to put it down, fold it, put it on the table, but it can't touch the ground. And I was like, I love that. And I said, we don't, and they were shocked. I told them how patriotic we are here. No one cares about the national anthem. No one knows it. No one sings it. When it's played, people just talk over the top of it. Our flag means nothing. And so this is another example of when you look at the difference between people who really love their country and are willing to stand up for it versus here. Like I said on the one before Australia Day, seeing the one hanging off the bridge, and I was like, yes. I was just proud seeing Australian flag. And then to see this, and you're like, we are so far off the mark that our nation's policy just says, well, we prefer if you don't, but nothing happens. Like,
so stupid.
When you're in that environment, like in America, I was there for 4th of July, like two years later, and mate, I was ready to get dual citizenship. I was like, this is so good. And there's people driving up the streets playing the national anthem. And when they drive past the house we were at, everyone would stop, hats off, hand on heart, just as some big ram was coming past through playing the national anthem, and then the fireworks to start again. There's just something about that I went, I love this. And then I came back to Australia and realised we don't have that. There is no patriotism, very little patriotism, where people just love our country to the point of the flag, the anthem, who we stand for, our culture, and love it enough to stand up against it. And the fact someone can burn a flag on social media and there's not an uproar about it, well, not a visible uproar from the people in government, it makes me sad.
Well, what would have happened if that was an Aboriginal flag, LGBT flag, a Palestinian flag? There would have been uproar. There would have been riots. But then you look at the people that we talk about there not being a lot of patriotism in this country. You look at how we talk about the people that are patriotic. They're talked about as bogans, as lower class citizens, as not intelligent. That's what the media talks about them as. We know they're not. I mean, obviously there are some, but as a whole, I think it's almost being pushed to be socially unacceptable to be proud of your country.
Yeah.
Which is wild.
Yeah, I think part of it though is also we're focusing on the burning of the flag but there is also other Aboriginal people out there on social media calling it out, which I think is super important, and saying we are one nation, and that what is happening and this dividing is not the right thing to do. And the other thing sort of that I saw as well was that there was people walking down the street with an Australian flag and all wearing an Australian T-shirt and getting spat on.
Yeah.
And like the flags getting ripped off them.
Yeah,
And this is other Australians, like other white Australians doing this, thinking that they're, you know what I mean? So, which that makes my blood boil.
How did they spit at them through their COVID masks?
So
And in their car.
Taking their life in their hands. They must have had an extra booster before they got there.
So I think the message is that, we're actually lucky to be in this country, and it's an amazing country, and even though there's less and less opportunities by the seams of it, but we've still got it better than 90% of the places out there, which is why so many people want to come into our country. And we need to preserve that. And the people that are here, we need to unite with a general culture where, looking after each other, doing the right things and celebrating the good things that we have rather than trying to split that divide. And I do want to really call out, the other people, the Aboriginal people and the people that have immigrated in the country that are actually actively saying, we need to work together and we're lucky to be here and let's all come together rather than keep focusing on the individuals who just want to split us apart, in some cases probably for their own selfish wants and needs.
Yeah, it's true. I will say this though, I think looking at what's happened the last few months, the Bondi terror attack, how poorly our government's responded, there's been a few things where I've begun to notice that an increase in the love for the country. Yeah, we can point at the flag burning, which was terrible, right? Yeah, I got one of those videos. Actually, Chris O from the panel, he sent me a video. It was Australia Day, and there was those, the protests of the anti. They call it Invasion Day and whatever. And there's like those rallies where they're anti-Australia Day, and a bloke was walking with an Australian flag, and there was no punches thrown, but they tore his shirt, they pulled the flag off, and they were pushing him all around, pushing him to the ground. This guy was just walking, like he did it intentionally, walked through the crowd of the protesters. But they were just treating him like nothing else because he was holding an Australian flag on Australia Day. Yeah. And you go, oh my God.
Do you remember the last time there was a real surge of patriotism was years ago down in Maroubra, where they had all the rights and there was Australia Day and it was verse,
Was it in Cronulla?
Cronulla, but it was the boys from Maroubra, but they were saying this is our beach, right? And there became this real divide over beaches, and it became a national thing. But that spread all the way to Western Sydney. Like I remember being in a car, and groups of carloads of guys would call out people walking on the street if they weren't the right ethnicity, based on those things, and everyone just had Australia on the beach, and now it went massive, right? And there was a huge divide, but what it did, it galvanised that thought of, hey, we are Australians, let's appreciate this. And it went from being this massive traumatic thing. The next year, I remember Australia Day, you saw flags everywhere, the Australia Day tattoos, everything, people were dressed up. And it was the catalyst to go, hang on, we need to appreciate this. So unfortunately, we see this stuff happening, but sometimes we need that to recognise what we actually have. And I'm hoping that's the same this time, is that unfortunately we are going through these things, but hopefully next year we see that surge for people to actually grab a hold of it and go, yeah, let's be united. Let's be one country. Let's be Australian. Yeah. So,
Yeah.
Yeah,
And mate, you
has to
mentioned Jacinta Price. I have to give her a big shout out. I think she's a phenomenal woman, and I think we need more politicians like her. I think we should all be getting behind women like that and really championing them in politics.
You've made me just think of something here. You look at the people standing up for our country and leading the way. At the moment, predominantly are women.
Yep.
Well, look,
And shout out to, I'm saying it
Yep.
in like good
It's
on
a good
them.
thing.
Yeah.
It shows the lack of balls that most men, whether they're in position or not, but the lack of balls that most men have got right at the moment, because Pauline Hanson, look at the polls. She's soaring ahead. Jacinta Price. Who's that other girl that you sent me a tag of her the other day? She's pretty prominent on social media. What's her name?
Oh, Mendez in
Is that her name?
America.
No, in Australia.
Oh, okay.
Short, darkish girl, long hair, long black hair.
Oh, dude.
I
Lost her
forget her
name
name.
now.
Anyway, but I'm just saying, like, good on the women. I just go, where are the men? Like, where are the fellas? Come on, boys.
mate, I don't,
Seriously.
Cowboy Tommy, have you seen him?
No.
Mate, I love his stuff. Like, and that's one of it. It is just like, this is bullshit. Like, we're all like one nation. Let's start working together type stuff. So they are out there, but I think if we can just make those voices louder, and more people get it. And also, it is also just the fence sitters actually going, no, I actually believe that, we're in a great country, and I want to actually for everyone to unite and work together. I think there's too many silent voices out there, and we need to actually go, no, I love my country, and I'm going to stick up for my country, So,
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, moving on to the next topic, which is, again, big business and these brands thinking they're saving us from something. Hey, now, Holly Valance, over the last couple of weeks, well, it's probably a bit longer, she's released a new song for the new One Nation movie, which I'm very pumped to watch, by the way. I'm
You've not given that impression at all, mate.
I tell you, Auntie Pauline keeps delivering, man. Just phenomenal. But anyway, Holly Valance has released this song, and it's going to upset a few people, right? It's going to, the people it's going to upset are probably already upset anyway. They're probably already wake up and they take a heap of pills and they're angry about something. So Apple has decided to remove Holly's song from its platform because it may offend someone. But at the same time, we've got Diddy the Diddler's music all over. Like, I think he's even releasing a new song about baby oil from prison or something. Apple's going to champion it. But it just shows
That's
the
quite
disparity, right?
Yeah,
Like
100%.
we've got someone who's been convicted of crimes. He's in prison for a very long time.
For bad
His
crimes
music-
too.
For bad stuff.
Rape and
he's still
trafficking.
there selling his music. Someone's making a lot of money there. Holly makes a song for a movie which is getting around I would say the fastest growing political party in our country, and are looking like they're probably going to be either one or two by the time we get to the election. She makes a song that's supporting something they do, and boom, let's chop it off. Let's try and... Is this about protecting us, or is this about protecting the status quo of the current political system?
It's the whole red pill, blue pill thing, isn't it? Like how big media, big branding, big companies are the ones to some degree in control of this, some people call it the matrix kind of thing. But you look at Apple, like they're the ones trying to dictate, oh no, we will continue to push out music from a guy who's convicted of all these bad, terrible crimes. We're okay with that. But a woman brings out a song to support a political party, and like, oh, cancel it because it's going to offend, it's going to start a riot, it's going to, and you go, where's your head at? Like you're literally, as a company, as a brand, trying to dictate.
Is it? I haven't seen the song. Is it like a parody song sort of thing, like
heard
a
it.
comedy taking?
I haven't listened
piss?
to the full thing, but it's from a scene within the movie, which is talking about real biological women and obviously what isn't.
But
it's very good.
But I mean,
it's
like,
something
look
that,
at. Well, could you imagine if Weird Al Yankovic was in today's day and
Oh,
age?
maybe that's what we need, a bit of Weird Al.
Do you know what I mean? Like he wouldn't be because he made a whole career out of taking the piss out of things. So
Well, you can see it, even comedy these days. Comedy is so regulated. Ricky Gervais talks about it all the time. Like, what's the point of having comedy if everything's offensive. Like there's all these pre things in the agreements. Like if you're going to do comedy on Netflix specials, you can't mention all these things, and it's like, well, that's the whole point of comedy is everything's on the table. If you're offended, don't go and watch it. But now we're pandering to possible offensive things at the people who are offended at everything. It's too sunny today, I'm offended. Like doesn't matter what it is, yet the laws are not, they're catering to those people to say, we've got to try and limit the amount of offence, and any offence comes from any opinion that doesn't match mainstream opinion.
Yeah.
But mainstream opinion is offensive more than anything, yet it's who's determining that. So you can't have an opinion anymore because that's potentially offensive. Anything offensive has to be regulated.
Well, you even look
spins
about
me out.
the release of that movie, which is, what's it called? The really progressive movie is what they've called it.
Yeah.
But so when One Nation are pushing this out to market, they're having private screenings around the country. Now, it was originally shut down in the first Canberra screening because it might offend someone. It's a private screening. You have to buy tickets to an event to go there through One Nation. And they shut it. They had to move venues because the venue said, oh no, this might offend someone. You literally have to buy a ticket on a closed platform to go to an event to watch it.
It's not like it's on a big
Who's
billboard
doing that?
flashing your face going, consume this.
Yeah, like it's ridiculous.
The world's gone crazy, Mike. You're telling us.
Mate.
Hey? I can see
Anyway,
it. You get
can we?
passionate.
Hey, shall we actually go and watch the movie?
100%.
I'm in.
Okay.
Are you paying?
It's probably better than that. It's probably better than another movie that you watched the other night.
Oh, don't. Yeah.
Last night.
Mate, yeah, so we went to the movie. Like I took the wife
Mike's
out.
movie
Well, again,
reviews.
one of my
Hate speech, be careful. Don't bag the movie up.
one of my goals this year was around relationships. Was saying, hey, we're going to have so many date nights a month. Last night was date night, and picked the movie. 3 hours of my life I will never get back.
You're gonna love today's topic then.
Okay, this is good. We do have one other thing to talk
Tell
about
us.
though. So, John Comerford actually shared about this the other day as well. Again, another good friend of the podcast.
fella.
Shout out to you, mate. Keep doing what you're doing. So, a school teacher gets pregnant by a 13-year-old student and is posing for glamour photos all over the internet.
I saw this. Ridiculous. Quite a pretty woman sleeps with a 13-year-old student, gets pregnant by him. I'm guessing, just guessing, probably more than once slept with him. If she's full on pregnant, it could be just a one-off event, maybe. But then fills her Instagram and social media posing fully pregnant with glamour shots. So all of her family and friends and everybody, it's like she's embraced the fact that she has, this is what I look at this story. It's one thing because we've said this many times. Like you flip the script on that. If this was a male teacher impregnating a 13-year-old female girl,
He'd get bashed.
this would be like treated. Imagine the feminist movements. Imagine like the people going crazy because
Men
that's
would be
quite
banned from teaching.
That's how the
He
approach
still
would
have
be.
his songs on Apple though.
Yeah, apparently, yeah. But you flip this around, right, and you go, I fast forward now and I go, that 13-year-old boy, imagine the psychological effect this is going to play on him. It's one thing to go, oh, mate, you've scored, it's easy to joke about and go, high fives, man, like, well done, mate, you've scored. But this is a child, a 13-year-old child. But the fact that she's embraced it the way she has and glamorized the fact that she's obviously she's the one taken advantage of this kid. I doubt he's made the move, maybe. But
even if
she has taken,
even if he had the crack,
There is always a pioneer, but yeah.
even if he had the crack, and I'll tell you that's a lot of confidence if he was. But the thing is, though, is that there's got to be limits, and that's why there's laws, and that's why these things. And because you're exactly right, if you switch it around, not only would the outroar on the public be bad, but also if when that guy went to jail, he would probably his life would be horrible.
100%.
Like what they do to pedophiles in jail, you know what I mean? But yet here she's still out there taking glamour shots and stuff like that, which goes to actually her mindset where she thinks that she hasn't done the wrong thing.
Wasn't she released on bail?
I don't know.
on that
But
one.
you've actually mentioned the word. Like, why aren't we saying pedophile when we mention her? She abused a child and glamorized it. Imagine if it was a dude slept with a 13-year-old girl and he's like sending selfies or something of in bed with her, like similar kind of glamorizing it.
Yeah.
She's a pedophile and posing for photos like it's okay. I just think of that poor kid. Like, it's one thing to go, oh mate, yeah, poor kid, he's 13, he copped the root from a... No, that messes up a kid.
Well, probably
100%.
Probably right now, if you said to him, like he's probably thinking it's okay, but later on, you know, as you start doing that deep work and working out who you are and stuff like that, and whether people are taking advantage of you of stuff, that later on, and when it's probably going to hit him most when he has kids, and his kids start to turn 13 and start going, wow, look at how innocent that person is. Like, because that's instantly where my mind went. You know, how old my son is and if he got taken advantage of and stuff like that.
It's a traumatic event. No matter how you look at it. A 13-year-old underdeveloped to mature, like, you know, you're talking about the development of a teenage brain, right? Underdeveloped massively. That's why alcohol doesn't kick in until 18, should be 21, because the brain is still developing. No matter how you look at it, for him, this is a traumatic event that he will have to deal with the rest of his life. The implications of what it's going to do in the outworking of him as a man, him as a person, him as a friend, him as a partner, how he's going to do future relationships, his future wife. All this is going to be affected.
Yeah.
Right? Because one person thought it was okay. And this is what the world probably won't see, is like, oh, look, he's 13. Yes, he was taken advantage of, but, you know, people have a natural thing. He'll be right. Like, he won't be right. This is the rest of his life affected.
He'll be
And she's
14 years
glamorised it.
old. His mates will be going off to play football.
Oh, he'll have a full-time job because he's got to pay child support.
Yeah, that's a good question, isn't it? Who pays child support there?
Think about this. We're saying he's a 13-year-old boy. He's not now. He's a 13-year-old father.
Yep.
Not a boy. Not even a man. He's a father. Think about the responsibilities and the implications of what that looks like as a 13-year-old. Like it or not, you have a son at 13. It's ongoing trauma, like an ongoing effects, ongoing psychological impact on this young man that for the rest of his life, whatever happens from here, he has a son that is 13 years younger than him.
Our system doesn't adequately look after the needs of young men, of boys in this country. Like,
that's why I work with so many of them.
Steve Dixon was telling us a while ago that a while back the age for consent for sex obviously has always been 16 for females, and it was 16 for boys too. Apparently, they passed through government however many years ago. They reduced that to 14 for boys. So
It's insane.
like,
It's not okay.
the whole thing's messed up, right? It needs a whole reform.
Well, the awareness of sexuality has now dropped the average age of puberty down to 10. That's why. And in primary schools, they're having the sex talk in like year 2 or year 3 because kids in year 6 have active sex lives. And it's just the norm for a lot of people. Like, I've worked with young people, and it's just like, I've heard year 7 boys dump year 7 and 6 girls because they don't put out enough. They're not sexually putting out, and so they get rid of them quickly because there'll be other girls who are willing. And these are kids. Right. These are 11 and 12-year-old kids. But it's so actively aware because of social media, access to porn, everything else. Like, it is normal. And the stuff I hear with young men who are 12, 13, 14 is graphic. And you go, well, this is why they're having sex with a teacher at 13, because it's not that unheard of. Like, for them, it's like, this is just porn living out. This is what they watch in their room 6 hours a night by themselves with their own phone, being available to them. So we look at that and go, that's crazy. Like, as a 13-year-old, it's not to them. This is just porn living out. Right. And they're like, oh, this is normal. It is insane what we have to deal with.
I just hope that young man gets the right support and the right,
100%.
Because he's got a journey ahead of him, and it's just it's insane.
Yep.
Anyway,
thanks for lightening the mood, Mike.
Yeah, well done, Mike. Oh, wow,
what a buzzkill.
Fine. Let's go and watch Super Progressive movie this week, and then we can come back with some good news.
Righto. All right, fellas, time for Man vs. Machine. Righto, fellas, this is the part of the show where I ask Chad aka ChatGPT, a question and ask you fellas the same question, and we compare the answers, so we can see AI's involvement in the world now and where it's heading compared to our answers as humans with emotions, all that kind of stuff. You know the drill. Righto. I'm going to ask you boys a question.
You know what we do.
For the first time listeners, yeah, might not know. Okay. Fellas, I'm going to ask you a question. I've asked Chad the question. I'm going to compare answers, and this is the question. If no one ever thanked you, noticed you, or needed you again, would you still live the way you do? If no one ever thanked you, noticed you, or needed you again, would you still live the way you do?
It's a tough one.
Yeah, it is a tough one. It's a tough question.
Just a side note. When was the last time you were thanked for what you do?
As a dad.
By who?
Daily.
Your wife, your dad, your family, whoever. Like,
as in like a statement of, I thank you for doing this.
Yeah.
Or thank you generally, like, I really appreciate you as a husband, or I really appreciate you as a dad, like an overall thing.
Any of the above.
Yeah, I
actually get it daily from my family.
Yeah.
Zero from the world, but daily from.
Yeah, okay. I'll get the odd thank you for like, thanks for dinner. Like, thanks for taking us out for dinner. But
I think the last meaningful one was Father's Day last year. Kobe wrote me out like a thing, and just talking about, like, I appreciate everything you've done for me, how much all that sort of stuff, and like, it's even making me nearly tear up now. Like, that was special. That was like,
because
it's
weird, right? Because you're needed, but I don't think you need to be thanked. Or what was the second one?
Thanked, noticed, or needed.
I don't know if
none
you
of
need
those.
to be thanked or noticed. I think you just inherently know you're needed. If the needed went away, that might change something.
All right, so let's answer it so we can move along.
I'd like to say I wouldn't change, but the reality is I think I'd really struggle with it. I'd like to say I'd be okay with it, but I think I'd struggle with it.
I think
So much of what we do is because we're needed, right?
yeah.
Need is probably I get the needed part.
Yeah.
I think the need is probably one of the biggest ones.
I think I don't think I'd change, because I would have the hope that I would be needed somewhere else. So maybe I'm not needed there anymore, but there'd be other places in the world that you're needed.
So still responding to need.
Like quantum leap, like you just wake up in another family.
Well, I think inherently,
Dad. Okay. Guess I am.
Why am I retarded?
I think inherently
That's one of the shows.
Inherently as a man, you want to provide, you want to protect, and you want to lead. Do you know?
Sure.
And if you can't provide those things, you want to be somewhere where you can fill those core needs and wants.
So in one word answer, if you're not needed and you'll never be needed, would you still do what you do? Yes or no? Let's not get grey. Yes or no?
Well, I don't know if but I would have the hope that I would be needed. So it's still because I'd be happy with, like, I'm happy with the person that I am.
Oh, so you'd cling to the role, like last week's question.
Probably, yeah.
All right, so
I think
let's
you'd
answer it.
have
Ready?
to say no.
Question: If
wouldn't
no
be
one
okay with
thanked
it.
you, noticed you, or needed you, would you still live the way you do, Steve-O?
I'd hate to say it, but I think I'd have to say no.
Interesting, Mikey.
No.
Wow, Jamie.
I think potentially yes. Yeah, I think so.
You're a
still
good man,
live-
Jamie. You're a good man.
Right. Okay. Well, here we go. Ready? So
Just
I've asked.
delusional.
Can you be my dad?
Okay.
I prefer Papa.
I asked Chad the same question. I asked ChatGPT, if no one ever thanked you, noticed you, or needed you, would you still live the way you do? And this is what Chad's answer. Most men wouldn't, and that matters. When behaviour depends on recognition, it's transactional, not principled. Living by internal standards means acting consistently even when nothing is in return. If effort only exists when it's seen or rewarded, identity is then outsourced. The discomfort in this question reveals where motivation is borrowed rather than owned. A man anchored internally doesn't require applause to behave with integrity. He lives his values because they're his, not because they're noticed. That's the difference between usefulness and self-respect. Oh, it is heavy.
You didn't actually answer it, man.
Yeah, no, I'm going to answer now. Oh, yes. No. Okay, so this is what I asked Chad then. What do you think the panel would answer? to the question, and Chad predicted this is how you would answer. One of you will say you'd struggle at first, Jamie, and realise how much motivation comes from being needed. Wow, Chad knows you, doesn't he? Another will admit they've never considered who they are without recognition. Oh, well, I didn't read this, but it's actually said my name. Wayne will likely point out that most men measure worth through usefulness, not values, and that's exhausting. There'll be a pause where everyone recognises how often gratitude, praise, or reliance has been the fuel, and how confronting it is to imagine living without it. Wow, that's actually, because I hadn't read these answers, actually mentioned me by name.
Oh, that's
Chad, if you're
exactly
listening.
word for word what I was going to say, but I didn't say anything.
Oh, I found that so interesting, though. That's an interesting answer. That's remarkable.
It also says, Wayne would say this because he's tired because he didn't sleep last night. You're like,
That is true. That is
Because I kept him awake with sound waves.
I kept him awake.
I was watching him all night. Chad, you're freaking me out. That was Man vs. Machine. Well, thanks for that, Az. All right, guys, time for the topic, and it's going to be a heavy one. It's, look, men tend to think becoming better is about what you build, what you add, what you stack on top of life that already feels full. So when a marriage feels flat, we try to add date nights. We add effort, we add spark, we add conversation. Rarely do we ask what needs to be removed. Distractions, phones, porn, work that follows us home, a mind that's never fully present. When a business starts bleeding, the instinct is the same. We tend to work harder, do more hours, chase more clients, push harder, instead of stepping back and asking what overhead, what inefficiency, what behaviour is actually killing it. We try to fix problems by adding, when most of the time the solution is subtraction. Because growth rarely comes from piling more on, it comes from letting go of the things that are quietly in the way. The habits that you keep trying to justify, the distractions that you've normalised, the version of yourself that once helped you survive, but now keeps you stuck. And here's the uncomfortable truth. What you're holding on to might be the very thing that's holding you back. So that's where we're going in this conversation today. Not what you need to add, but what you might need to let go of in order to actually grow. So fellas, I hope you're ready, because it is going to be a heavy one. That's why I touched on it before, Mike. I said, when I was writing this topic, I've actually, I'll tell you where this topic came about. This week I've been, these last couple of weeks I've been working on I know Mike, I've mentioned to you, and actually Steve too, but I've been working on a forex trading platform on a computer, right? Been trying to code it and get it to do all this automated stuff. And I'm part of the implementing of this strategy that I've made to put into the computer. It automates and trades on your behalf. So it trades, to try and, do it like a bit of a business thing. Anyway, I created this code, implemented it, and I've been watching it make some wins, make some losses. Anyway, I've gone back into chat and I've gone, hey, I want to improve the strategy to win more. And the answer that popped out was, one of the best ways forward isn't to try and increase your wins, but minimize your losses. So be happy with where the wins sit, but let's try and reduce where you're losing. And that's what made me stop and think, you know what? I've done this in my marriage. I've done this in my business. I've done this in so many areas of my life where you go, okay, businesses at that point where, geez, we need more money to come in the door. We need, like, I'm looking at where it's going. We need to earn more money. So I go, right, we put the feelers out there for more work. We start quoting more. We increase our costs. We do all these things to add, instead of going, hang on a minute, maybe my existing overheads are too high.
Maybe I pay Lisa too much.
Maybe I pay my wife way too much. No, but it's interesting how this is just a business model that I've shared, but I see this in marriages as well. Yeah. I had this chat with my cousin just yesterday. I was saying, hey, because he said, oh, what's the topic tomorrow? I said, oh, this. And he goes, oh, yeah, so like marriages. I said, exactly like marriages. I said, I've seen marriages and relationships, they've gone a bit flat, they've gone a bit whatever. So they do things like increase the date night, increase the time away, increase this, when in reality, sometimes it may just mean, instead of trying to add things into your relationship, you might need to stop and go, well, hang on a minute, what are some of the things I need to take out of our relationship? Because I had this chat with a guy a little while ago about pornography, and saying, like, he's trying to bring the spark back into his life with his intimacy with his wife. So he brought porn in. I've gone, well, hang on a second, instead of trying to bring things in, what's in your life that's subtracting? from where you're at. And interestingly enough, porn was one of the biggest things. He had porn in his life that he's now going, well, my relationship, my intimacy has become so numb that, you know, and anyway, it got me thinking. So look, topic today is what you're holding on to, the thing that's holding you back. So I want to hear your thoughts, fellas. Is what you're holding on to the very thing that could be holding you back?
Yeah, I think it's a really big part of the discussion that is overlooked. We try and optimize what we have already by increasing more work, more time, more effort, more just grinding out harder things. Like instead of actually taking stock and going, well, is what got me here what needs to move me forward? And I think about I had a fiddle leaf fig in my house, right, that made the move from Sydney up to here, and they chucked it in the truck. And I said, be really careful with the plants. I'm going to try and see if I can keep them on the move up. And when they packed it at my house, that was the last thing to go on the truck, and they were really careful with it. Well, when they were unpacking, obviously the first thing on the truck, or the last thing on the truck, is the first thing back in the storage thing. So they dropped it to Caloundra before we'd moved up, and they threw it in the back and then chucked a whole house load of stuff on top of this plant in 35-degree humid heat for 2-3 weeks. And I pulled it out and it was just alive. And I tried everything to get it working better, added more soil, more this, more water. And the one thing I didn't do was prune it, because I thought if I cut it all back, it's going to die, right? And it's just survived. And for 2 years, it has been barely living in our house. It looks horrendous. Like it looks like a palliative care corner for plants, right? And I've got a drip. I've got everything. It's like early here in the night, beep, the machine. I check it, temperature. And I'm like, you got this, man. I'm sitting with it, and anyway, someone goes, just cut it right back. And I was like, I don't want to. I'm trying to.
I don't want to kill it.
Exactly. That was my thought process, because it's lost leaves. It was horrific. So I cut it right back. I watch all the YouTube videos. I cut it back, and it full on dies, right? And I'm like, I knew I shouldn't have done this. And I left it in the pot in the backyard, and I just thought, oh, I'll deal with it later. Well, 2 months later, I come out and there's a little green leaf. 3 weeks later, there's a whole thing of brand new, fresh foliage. It is thriving, right? And it wasn't about trying to keep it alive. It was about cutting it back and letting what nature does best is go simple and let the energy you have apply to the simple things, right? And so it could actually reproduce really well. And I think in our life, the thought of cutting something back seems so counterintuitive to where we want to go, because we want to get better.
Doesn't always work, mate.
Yeah. No, it looks good, man. But now it's coming out your beard.
Yeah, came out the wrong way.
But it feels counterproductive and counterintuitive. We think the natural progression that's going to help is if I just do everything I'm doing, but twice as hard, twice as much, twice the amount of effort. And the thought of putting something down that got us to where we are, it's really difficult, especially if our identity's tied into this, you know, like work, maybe cutting back work to make our family better or whatever, like you're talking about overheads for business, things like that. But actually stopping and reflecting and going, is this what's going to move me forward? Am I putting energy and focus and resource into the things that I want to be? And if we're not, we've got to be prepared to put some stuff down. And it's probably the hardest thing as a man, because we're attached to those things. Yeah. We don't put it down. Often it's ripped away from us, and that's why it's painful. And it's just easier to struggle with more effort with the things that are attached to us than what it feels like to put stuff down and reinvent ourselves. And this is exactly what Trent's going to go through, is having to reinvent who Trent is, because that's what he's doing. He's adding all this stuff, routine and gym and everything else. But there's something missing. And instead of putting everything down for a bit and reinventing, it's like, how do I do what I do but add more, and hopefully things will come back into effect. So I think it's one of the hardest things a guy will ever have to do regularly, is put things down that was valuable at one point.
Well, I think that's the one rule of business, isn't it? You know, to be profitable, there's only two ways. It's either lower expenses or increase revenue, isn't there? Yeah. So they're the two choices. And I think, you know, as we mentioned last week on the goal sort of setting thing, my goal this week was to sort out my finances and all the rest of it. And that was the first thing I did, was actually, when we were having that chat, I was like, I've sorted the budget out. Now, what I mean by sorting the budget out, I actually went through last year's worth of expenses, all my statements, and actually had a look at where my money was going, and exactly like, you know, subscriptions and this and that sort of stuff. Because, and one of the realizations that I came to was that money that I was spending, which I thought was benefiting us, yeah, as in like we would do things or we would go do that, that was stuff that actually wasn't appreciated anyway. And having the money in the bank would have been much more like we invest to get a return, don't we?
That's right, yeah.
Now, if you're not getting a return, that's a bad investment, isn't it? So, and it took me running through that process to actually realize all this money that I invested, I actually didn't get a really great return out of it. And if I had that money like invested in something else, well, then potentially maybe that would, like, we would be in a better situation. Well, I know that it'd be in a better situation. So that was actually the first thing I did. Now, I know we said last week you were like, oh, yeah, more hours and you're going to burn yourself out and all the rest of it. But that was only just the short-term thing. My main goal is to lower those things. So therefore, you know, I become more profitable. Yep, I am going to increase the work that I'm doing for the period of time. But that's only short-term while I go and look for other revenue sources, so other business opportunities, other areas, you know, growing in different areas where we can do that. But the first thing that I had to do was actually go, okay, I'm working really, really hard. I know I'm not spending all the money on myself. You know, where is this money going? And that made such a massive difference. And, you know, that dropped my budget from probably about sort of $2,300 a fortnight sort of thing down to only $1,700 a fortnight, which just makes such a massive difference.
Yeah, steroids are so expensive.
What is it?
Steroids are so expensive.
Well, what I want to do, let's break it down into some sections, right? And I want to start with, say, marriage/relationships. I've written out a few things, right, on naturally we tend to do these things when you're trying to increase the spark, or you're trying to increase intimacy, or just refuel that fire, just reburn it. I've written some things that we normally add naturally, right? We increase date nights, more quality time, we increase our communication tools, more shared experiences, and then more effort with intentions, right? But other than those things that we naturally go towards to add, what are some of the things practically that you think we need to actually subtract if you want to increase and refuel that fire in a
I'm thinking I
relationship?
should get rid of my girlfriend now.
Bring the budget
Yeah,
down.
it's a good way to start. Bring the budget down.
I don't have a girlfriend. Just
Just so everyone knows.
yeah, just in case this ends up in court.
It's a day then. What are some of the things that you would subtract? Like, let's talk practically, because we do that. We, want to get closer to the missus. More this. Okay, well, if we stop there and we want to go, let's rephrase this. What can we subtract that brings instant increase? What do you think we subtract?
Are we talking relationships?
Relationships in our marriage. Let's talk marriage first. Oh yeah, marriage relationships.
Yeah.
Yeah, intimate ones.
I think probably the TV, like shows and distractions.
Yeah, distractions. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because we don't clean that up. This is why we have more date nights, because we think, now on Thursday we've got something booked. I'll be present then and I'll be romantic then. And until then, we subconsciously go, I have a space for that now. Instead of actually being a part of who we are, we've now blocked that time and allocated, that's my romantic time. So now I don't show up. I'm not present.
That's right, yeah.
Until that day. And then we bring flowers and we do movies and all that kind of stuff for 3 hours. And then we go, it's still not fixing. I'll add more date nights. We'll subtract the date nights and just show up when you get home, and be present. Be intentional about how you speak. Be intentional about being romantic or being noticing things that women actually care about. 4 extra date nights doesn't fix it, but maybe an extra 10 minutes of being intentional with how you show value would change all of that. So instead of adding more, how about we subtract some of that and show up more intentionally in that space for 10 minutes rather than time blocking 3
So really good
1
thing.
hour blocks a week and then just not showing up outside of that. And then expecting on that date night, well, she's going to put it out too because it's date night. We haven't emotionally filled any tank. We've just rocked up with flowers and gone, let's go.
Can we just cut that one line about not putting out?
Do you know what I mean? Again, it's what do we do to try and increase it? We add more stuff instead of being intentional with the time we have.
Exactly right.
How about we cut out whinging too? I think that's a big thing.
I think I've got the key.
Yeah. Mike's got the key.
Stop farting in bed. Am I right? Women, there's going to be ladies listening. Please write in. Send us a message. Did I just hit the nail on the head?
You did.
Cut
I
out lifting the toilet seat.
It's not just that; it's the fact that you hold her under the covers when you do it.
Yeah. Just move the nose away a bit. Yeah.
Lisa's going to listen to this and go, "Do you really want me to stop farting in bed?" Yes, honey, I do. If you're listening, subtract that. Stop it. What about what about scorekeeping? Keeping score.
Oh yeah.
Because we tend to do it.
How will I know if I'm winning? If I can keep score.
I think one of the if you can remove keeping score, keeping a tally of what's been said, what's been wronged, who when they've hurt you, if you just remove that very section from your relationship, you won't even need to increase any other area if you subtract that right away as a first one, because we naturally keep score. I remember last time you said this. Oh, well, you did this last week.
Yeah.
It happens all the time.
So let's go one deeper than that. Why do we keep score? What does it do for us, that keeping score? Like, why do we do that? What value does it add to us as a man? Is it we feel more respected or disrespected if we're not keeping score? Like, what is it at that lower level that causes us to do that?
I think we tend to keep score a little bit. Well, I think with a lot of relationships in my life, I do keep score in a way of I don't want to fall behind. I don't want to be. Okay. I don't want to be the guy that when we go for coffees, as an example, I don't want to be the guy that's never paying for a coffee. I make sure I'm over the odds, or at least meeting that expectation.
Because what do you feel if you don't meet that though?
Well, you don't want the guys to think you're a moocher, right? You don't want to be the guy that's like, everyone knows someone who never pays for the coffee. You're always the guy that, it's your round. Oh, I'm just going to the toilet.
Yeah.
Kind of guy.
Yeah.
You don't want to be that guy. You want to step up. And I think that probably we start some of that scorekeeping as we want to be stepping up and providing or doing our part. And then at some point that crosses over into, well, actually, hang on, I'm now noticing that where I was doing more, or I felt I was doing more and it was good, now I'm resenting the fact that I'm doing more.
Yeah, because if you place value on the fact that you're doing that, what you are inherently doing is then judging other people in that same value. And so if they're not stepping up, that's where we get conflict. Like, well, I've done this.
Turns, right?
Okay, so we're now judging them on the value that we need. And that's where it goes pear-shaped. Because then we get resentful. Well, I've done this now 4 times, having coffee, and you've never offered once. What kind of friend are you? Like, so we can do that for ourselves, but we inherently then judge others with the way that we're needing to feel valued under the same measurements. I think that's where we could be really scorekeeping in marriages. You get conversations like, well, I've done the washing every time for the last 6 months. And you go, well, what am I really missing? Like, my wife's done everything else, but I did the washing. You haven't done the washing. I've done it for 6 months.
Yeah, but I took out the bins.
Yeah, it becomes this thing where
but I did the dishes.
That's right, yeah.
So like the scorekeeping, 100%, and it's so easy to do. And then sitting with it for a while to go, why is that really important to me? Why am I so needing to do that? If we don't solve that issue, we will replace scorekeeping with another version of it. So it comes back to, where does that sit for us?
I think it's a really hard thing though, because, I've read in so many books, it's about, you give and you give without expectations and you give because of the love that you have in your heart and all that sort of stuff, which is the way it should be. Do you know what I mean? But also I think there's a part, especially for guys that have been taken advantage of before, where you're like, I don't want that to happen again. And I want to know whether I'm getting taken advantage of or not too.
That's a protective factor.
Yeah, I think that can be, I know for me, that's definitely one where I'm like, am I actually, I think there's that inherent sort of thing where you want it to be fair. And so I think it's more of a fairness thing, or whether you're getting taken advantage of and all the rest of it. So it is 100% right that we should do it without expectations, because expectations are the things that make you feel horrible, But also there is that part where you want to protect yourself and go, am I just being a muppet here, and am I just getting taken advantage of? So and I have seen that where, guys are working in the mines, full time, like working their absolute ass off, 12 hours a day, 7 days a week, all the rest of it, 2 week swing where they're working, 1 week off. And then when they get home, what they get is, oh, you're finally here. Time for you to look after the kids. And here's your money for your carton of beer for the week, And that's where you're like, wow, and treated like shit when you get home too. So I think, and not saying that that's with everyone, but you have seen, I've seen that scenario as well. And I'm like, wow, that guy is getting taken advantage of, in my opinion,
What about in regards to taking things away that are in a relationship? What about taking away the defensive guard?
Well, that's on the back of that protective factor, needing to holding people at arm's length so you don't get hurt. That's
if you look at a marriage that, because I've had this conversation many times with my marriage, because you can get into not an argument, but you get into a discussion, and instantly guards go up, walls go up. If you can remove that right away, you've already instantly removed the fact that you're okay with what your partner says because you believe the intention behind what it said isn't harmful.
Yeah.
The only reason we put defensive guards up in a relationship is because the words that come at us, we believe the intentions are bad.
Yeah.
If we can remove that guard and trust that our partner is talking to us with the right intention, instant communication improver.
Yeah. And they
Straight
carry
off the
so
bat.
much more weight because of the person we love the most. The person, people closest to us, their words. If some idiot on the street called something out, you're like, whatever, champ, keep walking, buddy. But then your wife says the same thing. I'm gutted and I'm instantly defensive. I'm not a defensive person, but if my wife says something that feels disrespectful, I'm just got to be so careful because I'm so defensive. What do you mean by that? Like I'm arcing up instantly.
Yeah, absolutely.
And all communication goes. Do you know what I mean? Then it's just
What do you
so
mean?
true.
Blue hats definitely aren't gay.
They aren't. What do you mean? People closest to me. Do you really mean that one?
No.
Yeah, no, 100%.
Yeah.
And again, why would we be defensive? We don't want to be attacked. We don't want to be hurt. We don't want to be let down. We don't want to, we don't want to feel disrespect. We don't feel unloved. Can you sit in that space and be calm? So if that is sorted out in us, can we sit in that space then and allow those conversations to happen without feeling that way? Well, it comes back to identity. Have we got self-worth, self-value enough to be able to go, I'd love to hear your feedback and be open to it? Or are we so fragile as men that no one can touch or put their finger on and say, hey, you haven't showed up for me this week? Instead of going, you're right, how can I do this better? We go, what the hell's that supposed to mean? Well, you haven't done and you haven't done and you haven't done.
Yeah.
So putting down that pride.
What we're talking about here is definitely for someone who's in a very solid long-term relationship. If you're in a relationship where maybe you're not sure, like when you talk about something being said to you with the best of intentions, what if you're not sure whether it's the best of intentions? What if there is a genuine question there as to whether what your partner's saying to you, is it genuinely from a place of love, or
That's
is
a good
there
question.
something else there? Because there is a danger out there. We're telling everyone who's listening to go and just, take what your wife says to you as she's got the best intentions.
You're right.
Could be a fruitcake, man. You could be eating flipping beef Wellington tonight.
Okay, so then other than dropping your defensive guard, what about emotional support that you're outsourcing from other people instead of within your relationship? What I mean by that is, like, when, I'm not putting this on all women, but you might have an argument at home with your partner, right? And then all of a sudden that emotional support she's getting there, she's nagging to her friends, she's bitching to her friends and blah, 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 and then we do the same, whatever. What if you removed all other emotional support and kept the emotional support within the relationship? Do you reckon removing that would increase?
I reckon I'd spend a lot less at Dan Murphy's.
But we do it because I've got nothing against mate. We push mateship like nothing else here.
Yep.
We push that. I get that. And I'm not talking about not offloading, but I wonder if you removed a lot of that offloading to everybody else and kept that within the relationship only. Do you think that would increase a marriage?
I think it would, but I think we have to be vulnerable enough to be in that space. because mates will always build us up, and it's a safe space to be who we are, or we think it's a safe space. But I think if we're vulnerable enough, the only place to really build that is with the person that you're with. If they hold that, the lion's share of it, I think that's a really good thing, but it's the hardest bit to earn.
Well, I think it's with that conversation though, where you do have the, because it takes two to tango, reconciliation, two people coming together, right? So I think it's having that conversation of, hey, let's try to work through these together, because there is stages where, you know, you do have to go out, men and women actually have to go seek the support of someone else because they're not receiving that from the partner at that time, because they're not capable of that situation at that time. You know, whether it be their past that triggers the issues, all the rest of it, whether it be your past that triggers your issues. So sometimes you're not at a place where you can do that, but having the conversation and checking in regularly is definitely, but also I think it's also cutting out the wrong conversations with the wrong people. So where it's like some of your friends might be telling you, hey, that shit, get rid of it. You know what I mean? Like, come be single with me. It's such a good life. It's rah, 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 you know, like all that.
Come get a cat and live in a 1-bedroom unit with me.
Yeah.
It's true though, right?
Yes. So yes, 100%. But I think it's also be careful, like cutting out those wrong decisions, because what we put in is normally what we get out. You know, so that input.
All right, let's switch it up from relationships now. I want to flick over to parenting for a while. I've done a few things. When I've raised 4 kids over the last 23 years, I've loved every minute of it, but I've fallen into this trap many, many, many times. You sit there sometimes thinking about, have I been a good enough father? Is there ways I can improve? And when we think that way, we look at ways we can increase and add, right? And this is the way that I've written down. We increase more activities and stimulation, more rules and consequences, more talking and explaining, more hovering and rescuing, and more pressure to get it right, okay? We tend to add these things to try and be better parents, when in reality, what are some things that we do as a parent that you think we can subtract without having to try and increase and add?
It's tough, man.
I think it ties a lot into marriage things. I think distractions are right off the bat. Distractions are one of the biggest ones, especially with phone. We mention phones all the time, I get it, but removing distractions, because, again, remove the distraction instantly, you've got time there right away.
Yeah.
Other things practically, as a father. If you went to look at increasing but subtracting, what would you subtract right away to make you a better dad?
Removing excuses for not only for yourself though, but also for the kids too.
Yeah, it's a good one. Yeah, excuse is a good one.
Like, you know, where the kid's like, oh, he's this because of, or he's because, or she's because of, rah, rah. No, like, there's a stage where they have to choose who they're going to be, and they have to take ownership of who they're becoming.
Yeah.
So,
What about? Go.
I think the external stuff too, like it's not just as a dad, but the things around us that are stopping us from showing up well, goes to the back of excuses. But if we're so busy doing other things that don't impact that, what are we removing outside of the home to maximise our time inside of the home as a dad?
Yeah. That's a good one. What about guilt? If you removed guilt as a father, what I mean by this is, when you stop and you think, have I been a good enough dad? A lot of times you go, oh, I haven't. I've worked too much. I've done this, I've done that. And the moment you think that way, it's easy to feel guilty. Oh, geez, I haven't. I've now. And then the moment you're guilty, one of two things happen. You go into slouch mode of like, oh, I'm such a bad dad. And you end up doing nothing. Or
You overreact.
you instantly overreact and you start to then try and increase. What if you just remove guilt and gone, you know what? I'm going to back myself and I am a damn good dad.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I've failed. Yeah, I've whatever. But the moment you remove guilt, mate, I think you've removed a massive roadblock from being a good dad.
And the follow on to that, what if you move reaction?
Yeah, that's
And
really
actually
good.
choose to respond instead of react.
Yeah,
if you
yeah,
just remove reaction because we're tired, we're busy,
That's
we're
a
everything
ripper.
else.
Yep.
How much of that guilt comes from reaction, not responsive fatherhood?
What about unrealistic expectations? Because it's easy to look at other dads and go, bloody hell, man, that's a ripper of a dad. Like I've got a
Bluey's dad.
Bluey's dad for don't watch Bluey.
Best dad on the planet, bro. It's
But
unrealistic.
it is
Do you know what
easy.
I'm talking about?
I mean, I've always had this saying, right? Take a page out of another man's book. And I live by that. I love it. I love looking at other people's business, marriage, parenting styles, mateship, and go, damn, he's nailed that. I'm going to take a page of that bloke's book, and you apply it to yourself. Nothing wrong with that. But I think a lot of the time when you look at parenting, I've got a mate of mine who's he's got 2 boys. I think a lot of you guys know actually. He's done a lot of the cook up with us. This is Jay, and I know he's had a rough trot with relationships. But one thing I will say is that he's an absolute damn good dad. Like I watch him every Facebook post and stuff. It's him fishing with the boys, and now, he's added a lot into his thing. So, and I'm looking at it going, mate, you're spending great quality time with your kids. I look at that, and when I look at it and I go, well done, there's that instant feeling I get of, well, why aren't I doing that? I should be doing more of that. And I've created an unrealistic expectation because our work schedules are different. I've got 4 kids, he's got 2. And I think one of the things that will rob you as a parent, as a father, is when you allow unrealistic expectations be a box to tick. If you can remove that, let yourself go. I think that ties well into the guilt too. If you can remove those expectations and go, you know what, I'm expecting too much of myself.
Yeah.
I think you've released yourself massively.
What if we remove assumptions?
Yeah, that's really good. Really, really good.
Because I've got a child with a disability, and that's part of my parenting journey is making assumptions about what is best for him based on what I think would be best as a kid, and that's based on my journey. And then I make assumptions and I try and do things that I feel disappointed that hasn't worked and realise he's not into it anyway. And so instead of actually tapping into what he wants, I've made assumptions and I've acted on that thinking I'm being a great dad, when a really great dad actually responds to the needs of their kids, not tries to push the kids into the needs of what I need to feel like I'm being a good dad. And so, I've had a lot of assumptions that have had to die and a lot of ego that has to die as a dad, trying to navigate that journey.
What about fear? Parenting from an angle of fear. Don't do that. I'm afraid what he's going to do. This. I think if you remove fear, would that instantly allow them to make decisions from a point of courage, a point of leadership, a point of discovery? Take fear out of it.
Yeah.
If you can supplement it with wisdom, though, and not be like, bro, climb that 10-story building with no harness. Go for it.
Yeah, fear is a survival mechanism, isn't it? It's an important thing. It needs to be wielded, though, and controlled.
Yeah. Well, I think that was my thing with control, but it links in with fear. And so it's your fear, but it's also the control of that kid where, and when they're younger, 100% that we have to do that. But, there's a stage in kids' lives where they don't actually get their influence from their parents as much anymore, and they get their influence from their peers. So it's like you're 13, 14, 15 sort of thing. This is like, it's just part of you growing up. Yeah. And that's where you have to move from the leader and telling him what to do or her what to do, telling the kids what to do, but as to a mentor, where you're actually breaking things down and teaching them the lessons from and making sure the lessons from those mistakes that they might make or their successes that they might have, making sure they get those lessons out of it, because that's really what a good mentor does. It doesn't tell you what you have to do. It's actually letting you learn it for yourself and really, I guess, implement those in your life for your future.
All right, let's switch it up. I'll switch from parenting, make it a bit more about us right now, about health. When I was looking at, we set goals last week, we do all this kind of stuff. We want to be better men, and one of the biggest things about us is health, not just the weight side of things, but to be healthy men, right? So I've written down some things that we normally try and add. When we try and become better and we're thinking health-wise, we naturally fall towards these things. We implement new training programs. We create a strict diet. We look for more motivation and willpower. We increase more supplements and all these life hacks and absolutely extreme routines. Naturally, we fall towards those. We want to become healthier. We add those things. If we're not going to add those and it comes down to subtracting some things that are stopping our health, what do you think we just need to subtract?
Portion size.
Yeah, look, it's pretty simple, isn't it? If we don't put it in, we don't put it on. Like it's...
It should be on a T-shirt.
Yeah.
A midriff T-shirt.
Stop it around. Don't put it on, you don't put it in.
That's a health warning then. Hey, full of wisdom, guys.
This is a great one. What are we subtracting? We want to get healthy.
Ego.
Just
that's a good one.
Ego deaths are one of the
Take
biggest
away your
things.
ego.
Most level ups are after an ego death. In anything, business, health, personal relationships,
Yeah.
it usually takes an ego death to actually get to the next level.
That's really good. Remove your ego.
But it's still a
start with.
death. It's hard. But yeah, ego.
mate. Well,
Excuses?
you're talking about extreme diets and so on, but really it's just about reducing, right?
Yep.
Slightly smaller dinner, slightly healthier dinner. Like you said to me the other day about, every time I speak to you, you talk about yesterday and had a beer or two. Like you're doing it a lot. You do you, and I'm like, actually, yeah, you're right. I don't drink to excess, but I'll have a beer after work most days. So I'm like, actually, just do a bit less. Let's just have a night off. Maybe make it just a Wednesday. Just less is good, right?
So would you put that down to indulgences or luxuries? Like remove that? If you want to become a healthier man right off the bat without increasing anything, but you're looking at subtracting, would you say subtract the indulgences and the
Yeah, definitely.
yeah.
With everything, it's just a little bit less, right? Doesn't have to be a drastic change, but like Chris was saying last week, when he goes out, just have 3 beers. Don't have 15. Just a little bit less. Doesn't have to incremental changes.
I think a lot of what we do too when we're approaching anything, but especially in health as men, when we're getting into something new, written goals down, or to become healthier, we tend to approach it right off the bat as an all or nothing approach. Righto, let's get fit. Righto, I'm going to start next year. I'm going to compete. No, don't think all or nothing, man. Because I think a lot of the time we go into things all or nothing. I'm going to give it up, and I'm not against going hard at things because I think for men we need that challenge, we need that push, we need that. Absolutely, but I think removing the all or nothing approach makes you go, okay, no, I'm going to take this one step at a time. I'm not getting in this to be the next Arnold Schwarzenegger. I'm getting in this to be whatever. I'm not getting this to be the next marathon runner, but I am getting, you're not going to be the next David Goggins. You're not going to be not to say that to downplay it, but I think as men, if you remove the all or nothing approach, you'll start approaching more things.
Yeah. And that ties into what I was going to say. The other one for me is external validation. We need to remove it. Other people's opinions of what we're doing.
It's really good.
Why do we hit social media? Why do we portray our perfect life on social media? So people go, oh man, that guy's killing it. Right. So external reward, external validation, I think it's huge. We live by it, whether we like it or not. We do a lot of this stuff not because we want to do it, because we think other people will value in us that, in which we get value, we get worth, we get validated. It fixes all those things that we think we're doing, but it doesn't, and we do more of it and more of it. I think it's a huge thing that often men, even with mates, we want to appear like we're doing well, and that external validation drives so much of that extremism of why, there's a guy on LinkedIn I follow, he did 58 marathons in 58 days. I'm like, oh man, what could I do? I'm like,
Is he live in Bagara? The guy as a cafe owner? Australian bloke, yeah?
Yeah, so no,
Covered in tats?
No. But he did like the 50 and 50, the American one, and then he flew back and did the 8 for Australia. So 58. And you think, that's awesome. I should be inspired to be my best. But all of a sudden I'm like, maybe I could run a marathon. Like, why? I don't care about marathons. Why am I doing that? Because that guy looks like he's killing it. I'll add marathons to my list. So dumb.
Yeah.
But external validation.
Well, if you're putting all into that, like you look at the guy that did 58 marathons, that's all he did. So family time, relationship, all your enjoyment out the window.
Yeah. He didn't
So if we put all of our effort into dieting or exercise or anything else, that's all that effort that can't go towards your business, your relationship, being a father. So it's bad management of our resources anyway, isn't it?
Yeah.
It is. Well, fellas, let's wrap it up there, yeah? That was a good chat. Guys, look, most men walk away from conversations like this looking for the next thing to add. It's just naturally what we do. Another habit, another plan, another push. But if this episode has done its job, you'll realise growth doesn't always ask for more. Sometimes it asks for less. Less distraction, less noise, less comfort. Less of the things that you've been holding on to because they feel familiar. Because the truth is, the thing that's costing you the most might be what you're missing. It might be what you refuse to let go of. You don't move forward by dragging everything with you. You move forward by choosing what stays and what doesn't. So don't rush past what come up today. Sit with it. Be honest about it. Have the courage to remove the one thing you already know doesn't belong in the next version of your life. That's where the real change starts. Fellas, we'll see you next week. Guys, thanks for joining me once again.
Pleasure, boys. Have a
Thanks,
good one.
boys.
Have fun, guys. I'm going to go and cut everything out of my life.